Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pathways to Family Wellness podcast. My name is Dr. Brendan Riordan, pediatric and family chiropractor. Joining me today, I've got a special guest, Dr. Eric Plasker, who is a 1985 graduate of Life University and has been practicing chiropractic for 38 years. He is the creator of the best-selling book, The 100-Year Lifestyle, and has trained over now 12,000 doctors worldwide. Even recently, he was named by Life University as the Chiropractor of the Year. He and his wife, Lisa, have been married for 35 years, and all three of their children are chiropractors. Dr. Plasker, thanks so much for joining us.
Brendan, Dr. Brendan, thank you so much for having me. I love what you guys are doing at ICPA. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I know they say this a lot. There's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. It's kind of cliche, but I really do feel like at this point, there's never been a better time to be promoting the chiropractic lifestyle. And I think the world is in more desperate need today than it ever has been in terms of these types of values and the philosophy behind what we do.
I agree with you completely. And you know why there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor every time you say that? Because it's always true.
Yeah.
Because as long as you have as long as the nervous system is the master control system of the body, and we have an innate intelligence, that is a forever truth.
Yeah. What a beautiful thing. And I know that I have heard you in passing talk a bit about the 100-year lifestyle. I don't know as much about it specifically, so I'm wondering if you want to unpack that a bit for our listeners, or just talk about what does that look like? What was the inspiration behind creating the 100-year lifestyle? I guess you can give us the long version if you want.
Okay, well, you know, it's great. I never planned for that. I never wanted to be this person, or I never said I'm going to grow up and be this bald-headed guy that travels all over and speaks. You know, that wasn't my plan. I just happened to have, when I was very young in practice, I was very blessed with amazing mentors, people like Ernie Landy, Reggie Gold, fantastic mentors. I'm a product of 2 Ellis Parkway, which is I'm in Spring Valley, New York. I believe that's probably the third most important address in the history of our profession, next to Brady Street and Barclay Circle. You have 2 Ellis Parkway, which is where Reggie and Ernie practiced. And so I came out of there with great roots, and I started seeing some people and got great results. And my oldest son had an accident. Chiropractic saved his life. And that was a life-changing thing for me, because I was a kid. At the time, I was very young in practice. And then a 100-year-old man came into my life, a 98-year-old man. And I was a kid. And I'll give you the medium-sized version of the story, because it could be a long story.
Great.
But he came in at 98. He was crippled, broken, alone. He asked me, Dr. Plasker, can you help me? I said, I have no idea, because I had never even seen a 98-year-old man before. I had no idea what he was supposed to look like. Yeah. But this guy looked like what I thought a 98-year-old man would look like. I said to him, just like my mentors taught me to say, I said, well, Max, his name was Max. I said, as long as you're alive and breathing and there's life flowing over your nervous system, let's give it a shot. So I started to adjust him very gently. He starts to move with more pep in his step. The pain lines on his face go away. He stands up straighter. He's moving faster. He's smiling a little bit. And so we fell in love with this beautiful soul. He was just a beautiful soul. And he never missed an appointment for a year. Wow. And we wanted to adopt him. He wouldn't let us. So, you know, we wanted to because he would always pay with these crinkled up dollar bills. He'd put them on the counter, and, you know, he had crinkled pants and crinkled shirts and food stains everywhere. And so we just loved him. And he wouldn't let us give him any charity. Came whole year, never missed. Well, one day he misses an appointment. We got concerned. So I said to my assistant, I said, you know, where's Max? She said, I don't know. I said, well, let's find him. And she starts to, you know, get on the phone, and no answer. I said, go to his house. She goes to visit, no answer. So 2 weeks go by. He's now 99. So what do you think we're thinking? Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. That he passed. Yeah. So another year goes, we say a prayer for him. We say goodbye to Max, and we go on about our business. Another year goes by. Max is now over 100 years old. And he comes walking through the front door in our office one day without an appointment, freaked out my CA, literally. He opened the door, the bell jingles on the door. And she's like, Max. And I'm in the back, and I'm like, I heard his name. She called his name. I heard his name. And I was like, oh, my God, Max is here? So I got excited because I only knew one Max. There was only one person it could be. So I go into super duper duper high speed adjusting mode, cleared out a bunch of rooms in world record time because I wanted to go up front and see Max. I clear out the rooms, I go up front, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Max, where have you been? We missed you so much. And this is the long version for the short version. For the long version, which is crazy, go to 100yearlifestyle.com. It's on there in full. Yeah. But I go and I give him a hug and I say, Max, where have you been, man? We missed you so much. And he looked white as a ghost, Brendan. He looked tired. His eyes were hollow. His bones were literally protruding out of his cheek and his forehead, and his skin was sagging. And yeah. I said, Max, where have you been? And he reached up and he grabbed my hand, looked up at me, and he said, thank you, Dr. Plasker. Thank you. And died. Right there in the reception room.
Wow.
And I was like, call 911, call 911. And the ambulance comes. I tried to revive him, not a chance. His spirit was gone, soared into the atmosphere. He was hard as a rock, carried him to the back, laid him on the table. The ambulance comes, takes him away, never to be heard from again. And I'm 31 years old when this happened. I was literally like a baby kid. Wow. You know, nothing like that had ever happened to me. I'd never touched a dead person before. Oh, yeah. Never carried a dead person before. My whole life has been about, life. We've taken care of babies, kids, families, athletes, all kinds of people, but never a 100-year-old man. This guy was 100 now. Yeah. So it took me months, years to process all of that. And as our practice grew, it was like, wow, man, we're taking care of babies, kids, families. Now a 100-year-old guy. When is it not appropriate to have chiropractic care as a part of a lifestyle, not just for crisis care? Because, I was so sick of, I got a backache. Or, oh, my baby's got colic. Not that I was sick of it, that I didn't want to take care of it, but I wanted to just kind of get ahead of all of that. Yeah. Like it's great that they respond and they heal, but what if they didn't have to, Yeah. What if we could just make it great all along the way? And so we just started teaching human potential program and raising super healthy families. And we created a Mother's Morning Out program. And then I got an opportunity. Am I talking too much here, or is this good?
No, this is great. It's this is exactly why we have these stories. I've got questions when you're all set, but go right ahead. Keep going.
Okay, cool. And so, we just started training doctors. Doctors wanted to know, how'd you open a second office in Marietta, Georgia, and grow to 100 patient visits a day in less than 9 months? There's like more chiropractors per square inch in Marietta than almost anywhere in the country or the world. And I said, well, this is what we're doing. This is what we're teaching. And people wanted to know. So they say, well, do you have that like in a product that I could buy? And I was like, no. Well, could you create one? Okay. And so we did. We just started cranking out materials to help chiropractors grow. And Max just never went away in my spirit. And so when we talked about one of my mentors, great mentor, Joe Felicia, would talk about the Hunzas, this population on the other side of the world that was living to extraordinarily long lives. And he used longevity as a framework for human potential. And that's what Max was like, this real life example of that for me. Yeah. And he just so happened to be 100. So I created a Live Your Life Without Limits marketing program. Yeah. Sold it to thousands of chiropractors all over the world. And they wanted to know more. And so I said, you know what, maybe this is a good framework for a book. And so I started figuring out, okay, so what would be in that book? And so I wanted to write a book that was, and the initial title of the book was The 7 Laws of Lifetime Wellness. This is where I really got my education. So what I'm about to get into, it's like when you say, why the 100-year lifestyle, why not calling it something else? I'm going to tell you why right now. This is huge.
Okay, great.
All right. So the title of the book, the first draft of the book was The 7 Laws of Lifetime Wellness. And law number 1 was the law of probability. It was based on Max's story. Yep. That if you knew you'd live to 100, how would you change your life today? That was the hook of the book. They called it the hook of the book. You knew you'd live to 100. How would you change your life today? Max got to 100, crippled, broken, alone. This is your advance notice. So law number 1 is the law of probability. You're probably going to live longer than you ever thought. So how would you change your life today? Right? Yeah. So I hire a literary agent. We go to Park Avenue, Manhattan, go to these billion-dollar publishing houses, trying to market and sell this book so they can maybe take it to the world. Okay. So I go in there for the first meeting, very, very intimidating, very intimidating. Totally different than going to a chiropractic seminar, an ICPA seminar, or a New Beginning seminar. This was like, stuffy and, everybody, they were analytical, highly successful, taking on $1 million projects, $100 million projects in this room. And they were evaluating me they'd already researched me, background checks, everything.
Wow.
So I walk in there and I do my pitch. And they said, you know what? This is really good. The 7 laws, the law of probability. If you knew you lived to 100, how would you change your life? This is great. Babies, kids, families thinking about it, the way you're going to raise we like this. This is good. But we don't like the title. And I was like, well, why don't you like the title? They said, well, because there's too many 7 laws out there. It's overplayed. And wellness is overused already. This was 2004. Wellness is already overused. We just signed like, 25 different wellness-oriented books on everything from pharmaceuticals to all this other stuff. So we're not doing anything else wellness. I was like, wow, okay, that's a wake-up call, because we're like in the middle of the wellness revolution, right? Chiropractors are using the word wellness like crazy. And so I said, okay, that's very interesting. They said, but you know what? We like you. You carry yourself well. We like your platform. You have a large reach. But we don't like the title. So go home and massage it a little bit and then come back. We'll talk to you again. I said, okay, that was great feedback, which is what we wanted. We wanted feedback. We wanted a deal, obviously, but we wanted feedback.
It wasn't an outright no, so that's
it wasn't a no.
That's a win in that place. Yep.
Right. So you ready? So I go back for the second time now with a new title. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're going to love the title. All of our listeners are going to love the title. They hated the title. Okay? The chiropractic lifestyle.
Yep.
Okay? They hated the title. So literally, so you talk about hard nose. This was a hard no. Okay? This was like, watch. This was like, no, we're not doing that. Okay? So I said, okay, that's interesting. And my goal, our mission at the time was lifetime care for everyone. We wanted people, and we still do to this day, we want people lining up for chiropractic care proactively throughout their entire lifetime, no matter how they feel, whether they have symptoms or not, for their whole life, from newborn babies, pregnant moms, seniors, everybody in between. We want everybody, chiropractic care through every phase of life for everybody, regardless of how they feel. That's our mission. That's our vision. So I'm like, whoa. They're like, we thought we liked you. So I left, and I knew what, and my God, I knew what the title was going to be. Okay. Now, by the way, it was the same content, the chiropractic lifestyle. If you knew you lived to 100, how would you change your life today? Bum, 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 right? So I go back the third time. They said, okay, we'll see you one more time. We still like the hook, but we hate that title. So I went back, and I went back with the 100-year lifestyle. In my gut, I knew it was right.
Yep.
I had a bidding war. It went from no offers. It went from we like you, play with it. We hate you, but play with it, to a bidding war.
Wow.
Amongst different publishers.
Wow.
Just by changing the branding.
Yeah. Amazing.
The content did not change. And if you look at the first book that came out, the word chiropractic is in there like 30, 40 times. Innate intelligence is in there like 15, 18, 20 times. The word subluxation is in there. Like all of it is in there, packaged as the chiropractic life, as the 100-year lifestyle. So it really is, now that I'm past all of that, it really is the chiropractic lifestyle marketed to the people. So they want it in spite of you, in spite of the doctor. Like they want it for themselves.
Yep.
They are looking for chiropractors, especially today in this crazy, insane post-COVID world. It's the best time ever.
Yep.
So that's the story, and it's why we learn so much about marketing and branding and packaging, and why it's so necessary for our profession.
Yep. Well, what a fascinating backstory with Max as well. I mean, I know you said you have the long version on the website, but I'm curious, did you ever get a reason why he chose your office? I mean, was there anyone that knew him, that was taking care of him at the time, that said, Max's last wish? I mean, obviously he wanted his last experience to have been with you in some way. I'm so interested if you knew more about his story.
I love that you asked me that question. I wish I could tell you it was an original question.
Yeah.
Everybody asked that question.
Yeah. That's
It
the
is,
one.
and
Yeah.
it is the great mystery. It's the
Yeah.
great mystery. I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
People were saying, "Well, what happened? Did he go out of town? Did he
Yeah.
get sick? Did he
We
have a
just don't know.
girlfriend?" People say,
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody knows. But he
Nobody
showed
knows.
up that day, and I don't know why, but
What an
it never gets old. I feel like,
incredibly profound experience. And what's
yeah.
interesting
So it
about,
changed me.
what an impact. I have found, longevity is a study of mine as well. It's something I'm very passionate about. And I have found when I talk about it, sometimes I feel like the only people that are interested are those who are like baby boomers and beyond. And it doesn't seem like it's landing as much with a younger crowd, which is interesting to me because if you knew you were going to make it to 100, what would you do differently today, or even 120 or beyond? Who knows what the longevity limits of the human being actually are. I mean, it's really fascinating to consider what they could be. But if someone is 98 and decides now's the time for me to be healthy, they're going to get some benefit, but they're going to get a lot more if someone is raised that way from birth, in preconception on. There's a
Yeah, it's a great point. No,
yeah.
I think it's great, and it's very interesting what you said. I'm very intrigued by that because I actually don't find that to be true.
Okay.
What I find to be true is that it depends on how it's positioned. First of all, the branding changes everything
Yes.
because branding, you put a vision out there. So we have this bright orange circle, okay? It's 100-year lifestyle. Young people always ask, "What's that?"
Yes.
That's cool. So it sets the framing, number one. It's like a giant pre-frame that we are putting out in the world that just so happens to have an international best-selling book, two of them behind
Yes.
it,
Yes.
because we had the 100-Year Lifestyle Workout also. And so I think that's an important piece. That's why branding really matters. I find that with branding, you could say things in a split second in a brand that would require you hours to explain.
Yes.
Okay. The other piece of this that is important, there's a lot to what you just said. Another piece, though, that is really important is when somebody says to us, we say, "Well, you may live longer than you ever thought. You may live to 100." They may say, "Well, I don't want to live to be 100."
Yeah.
Well, my answer is, well, you may not have a choice.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the fastest growing groups percentage-wise in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and none of those people plan to get there, and so you may not have a choice.
Yep.
And then so you say okay, and then another answer is, so if that's not your number, what's your number? Is it 12? Is it 18? Is it 24? Is it 37? Is it 43? Yep. Is it 64? Is it 90? Well, if you had a good life, why would you want to leave?
Yeah. Oh,
it's really not about them.
And those are interesting questions. And I absolutely understand what you're saying. I think the way maybe I framed it in a way where the concept of longevity spoken like that versus the concept of optimal function throughout your life would be a different one than the way that it's landing, right? So the branding's obviously different in that way, or the idea of the 100-year lifestyle versus a nebulous concept just like longevity, for example, right?
Right. And what is also interesting about that, so if you say, okay, so you're living to 100, we have a formula. So anybody could go to 100yearlifestyle.com, which is basically an online magazine that we just put new content regularly up.
Yeah.
For awesome. The people. We put up like 2, 3, 4 new articles a week. And a lot of them about chiropractic. Is actually, since this is a chiropractic audience, correct?
Yeah, it's mainly chiropractors, and then even more so the folks that chiropractors would take care of, right? So the audience is the families. Think about the families that are in your practice and my practice and everyone else's practice. It's those families.
Right. So this is a giant click funnel basically to help you understand every dimension of how to live an active, healthy quality of life for 100 years and beyond.
Yeah.
And we have a brand also. It goes with the 100-year lifestyle. It's 100, 100. It's 100% for 100 years. And people love it. It's a great workout shirt.
Yeah.
Kids get it. Adults get it. Chiropractors wear it. It's just a great branding also. And it's got the 100-year lifestyle with it. So what's interesting about that is that 100% for 100 years, you have control over the first number. You don't have control over the second number.
Yes.
And if you want to have 100% for as long as you're here, then it is indisputable that a healthy spine and nervous system should be a priority. Awesome. Through every phase of life.
I love it.
And so we are taking this branding and creating a conversation around it that truly only chiropractors could lead, or people that love chiropractors could lead.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're excited. We're adding people in different locations that want to, they become affiliated with the 100-Year Lifestyle. We refer people to them. They're helping to finance this vision out in the world. And it's an exciting thing. And, it's interesting to see people change. And what years ago, 2007, when the book came out, if you would, like what you said, a lot of people did not want to live to be 100.
Yes.
Okay. If you bring it up, more people said no. But what's interesting today, and this is very important and interesting, is now times have changed. So there has, since last year, since 2022,
yes,
there is a longevity industrial complex that has formed in the world that includes AARP, American Association of Retired Persons. It includes Stanford University. It includes Forbes Magazine. It includes Edward Jones Financial. It includes National Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Medicine, National Academy of Engineering, National Institute of Engineering, and many, 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 many more have formed this longevity industrial complex. And they are saying now that their number one priority between now and 2030 is going to be healthy longevity. And they're about to put $100 billion into marketing healthy longevity to the planet.
Wow.
Which means that for those of you that like the 100-Year Lifestyle brand and want to ride the wave with us, come on board, because they're about to spend $100 billion marketing us.
Wow.
Us. Because we have the best brand, and we have the only brand that will include chiropractic. You know how this makes me mad now. Today, here's how they deal with us. You ready? They say, a patient will say, well, Dr. Jones, what about chiropractic? And they'll say, a lot of them will say, these doctors will say, oh, chiropractic's great. It's just not right for you.
Yep.
So that's the way they're being taught to sell against us now.
Yep.
Because we're essential now, and we're not going anywhere. We're licensed in every state. We're licensed all over the world. So they have to deal with us differently. But they don't know we're outsmarting them, Brendan.
Yes.
We're outsmarting them.
So with all that big campaign you're describing about, is there going to be emphasis on optimal nervous system function, spine? And I'm curious, you had mentioned that they said, the brand is going to be a part of that with that huge push towards longevity.
No. They're not making the 100-Year Lifestyle brand a part of what they're doing.
Right.
We're just going to go ballistic more than ever.
Well, yeah.
To ride the wave, because they're going to be saying healthy longevity. And we're just going to keep putting this out there through chiropractors to attract all the people.
That's great. Yeah. Do you know I'm curious if you have any foresight into what some of the main points you think they're going to be focusing on for that from their perspective?
They're going to look at finances. They're going to look at assisted living centers. They're going to look at what drugs they can come up with and what new procedures. And
of course,
it's the allopathic world rebranded for healthy longevity.
Well, yeah, I figured there's going to be something tied up in there, right? Someone's got to make some good money on that one with that.
Listen, if they're going to put $100 billion in, it's because they want $100 trillion out.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And you don't get $100 trillion out by people eating healthy, getting adjusted, and exercising regularly or whatever. That's not coming out of that. Yeah.
It's true. And for any students that may be on, or young chiropractors, this is really important what Brendan just said, because a lot of young doctors will say to me, they'll say, well, Dr. Plasker, why doesn't the other side, why won't they accept us? Why won't they just refer to us? Why do we have to be like this outcast? Well, first of all, we're not an outcast anymore. Mm-hmm. We're essential.
Yep.
We're essential.
Yep.
Okay. So that's number one. Number two, we haven't gone anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And it's the only reason we're still here is because we've been separate and distinct.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would have been absorbed and disappeared. But here's the bottom line, okay? Which the bottom line is always the bottom line, okay? Because in my family, my wife and I, we married 35 years. We raised our 3 children without shots, without drugs, and without pediatricians. If everybody on the planet raised their family the way that our family and the Ohm family, as an example, raised their kids, the pediatric industry would be bankrupt in 30 days. In 30 days.
Wow.
If the adults, I mean, I'm a 60-year-old man. I'm on zero medication.
Yep.
I haven't been to a medical doctor since I got my life insurance policy 30 some odd years ago, which is really not true because I just had renewed my life insurance policy and the same doctor came to do my blood test so that I can get my life insurance policy. Same doctor 30 years later.
Wow.
And that's a funny story too. But, and the guy says like, what drugs are you on? I'm not on any drugs. He's going down this whole list. And I'm like, well, I'm not on any of those things. I never have. And I have a family history of heart disease, cancer. Yep. My parents had all kinds of stuff. My brothers are both chiropractors. I have a family history of heart disease, cancer, thyroid disease. So do they. All three of us are chiropractors. All three of us have never been to a medical doctor recently for anything. I don't know if my brothers have been, but I don't think they have been. Maybe for, I don't know, maybe one random time. I don't know, maybe. But pretty much never go. So if everybody did what we do, even regardless of their family history, I mean, the entire medical industry and pharmaceutical industry would be bankrupt.
Yep.
So that's a crazy thing. And that makes the other side scared to know that we can live without them.
There's a lot of vested interest in there, a lot of dollars invested into that. So, I mean, I think it's an interesting thought experiment, right? Of like, okay, people are living longer. What's that going to look like in terms of what's going to be promoted or pushed as like, here's how you get there by taking this, these sets of medications or getting these injections or whatever else to like make sure that you make it to that age. I mean, it'll, but here you are living proof that it can be done. It can be done otherwise. It's interesting. I speak to, my own parents are in their mid to I'll say mid 70s, mid to late 70s. And they're not on, neither one of them is on any medications at all. And when they go for they do their yearly physical, they're conventional in some ways, and they do some of the things we recommend in other ways. But their doctor never believes them that they're on no medications. They're like, they have to advocate many times of like, look, this is not dementia. I'm not on any medications. Like you haven't heard me incorrectly, because it's just it's so uncommon at their age to not be on any medications. And, we don't know, like you had said with the number, we don't know what that number is going to be. But for them, they're stacking the cards to make sure that number on the left-hand side, that other number is going to be as big as long as it can, as big as it can by what they're doing now.
Yeah. And quality of life every day along the way. And I think that's why getting to pregnant moms and babies and kids, it's always been a priority. I mean, our company name is the Family Practice, so we have always been about that. We are about that. We will continue to be leaders in getting that messaging out there. We'll do more and more with ICPA and maybe vice versa, because what is really, really important is we have to get there first. I think now, 38 years in practice, 61 years old, seeing the state of the world, life expectancy has declined to the lowest, it's declined the most since World War II.
In the past couple of
years. In the
United
United States.
Yep.
In just the past few years. Yeah. And people say, Dr. Plasker, why do you think that happened? And I say, well, what happened in World War II? A world war and a Holocaust.
Yeah.
There's some crazy things going on right now. And so I truly believe that getting to babies, kids, families, educating them. We do educational programs in our office. We market them through chiropractors, doctors. Use our educational programs. We have Raising Super Healthy Families, Raising Healthy Kids in a Stressful, Toxic World, Performance 100. We got all kinds of ways that we reach people.
That's awesome.
Because I truly believe that our generation, if we are going to have a legacy of truly being essential and doing something with this notoriety of being labeled essential, then we have to get there first before people need us. We have to get there with education before they need us.
Well, and it must be neat with how long you've been in practice at this point to be able to see some of the generations. I'm assuming you have some people you've taken care of consistently since the start of being in practice that you're still able to see at this point, right? So you can see these people have then had their own children. People you saw as a baby are up and now they're having their own babies.
Yes, indeed. And we had a 60-year-old woman Her kids are under care. She's 60 years old, and because she's been under care for so long, she's a soccer player. She just won the national championship
Wow.
as the leading player for her team, and she never missed a minute. And
Wow.
she played 5 games in a row, never missed a
Holy
minute.
smokes. Wow.
We're seeing kids. I've been very blessed. I took care of young soccer teams because my son, who I practice with here in Marietta, he played very high level soccer. We won 3 state championships, 2 regional championships, and a national championship. Went back to the national championship game, and the reason was, and all the kids will tell you this, because they were never injured.
Yep.
We were just always functioning at a high level. We were stronger on the last day than we were on the first day.
Yep.
We won high school state championships. I've taken care of world kickboxing champions, Olympic athletes, Hall of Famers, and it is indisputable that high level function requires a healthy nervous system and a highly functioning nervous system. That can never be disputed. What's interesting is that from a longevity perspective, is that it is indisputable that a healthy spine and nervous system is essential for a healthy long life. It's not essential for a long life, because there's a lot of people rotting away and deteriorating because they are living their life expectancy but not living their health expectancy.
Yes.
Because their nervous systems are damaged.
Well said. Well said. I love it. Well, I appreciate all the time you've taken for us. I know you probably got a boogie here, but is there anything else you want to leave in closing? There's some ways that our listeners can connect with more of your information.
I would love to connect with all of you. We love what we do here. We love it more than ever. And so if we're happy to help you. You can go to 100yearchiropractors.com if you want to know about what we're doing for chiropractors specifically, learn about our stuff, our services, our products. We do websites, we do content. We have amazing content. We could feed it directly to your website. We can list you on 100yearlifestyle.com, refer people to you. And everything is priced very fair. We got the best marketing programs, I think. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff out there. ICPA's got great stuff, but it's worth checking out for you if you want to.
Okay.
And then, I'm a really approachable person. I used to be afraid to talk to my mentors because I was just afraid. And, I just want to let people know that, if you see me, come give me a hug and I'll give you a hug right back and we'll chat. And if there's anything we could do to help you, help more people in your community and get there first. We have helped chiropractors over the years, Brendan. I know this is a crazy number. It's true, though. We've helped chiropractors grow over the last 38 years or serving chiropractors for close to 30 years by over $1 billion.
Wow.
Delivering high integrity lifetime care to more people. We have never wavered from our vision. And the reason why we can keep our prices really reasonable and low is because for 30 years, we've never wavered from our vision. We just keep adding tools and technologies without having to change the price.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dr. Plasker. Take care and look forward to connecting with you, hopefully at a seminar or a gathering at some point in the near future here.
Me too, man. And thanks for everything ICPA is doing. Really proud of you guys, and anything you need, you let me know.
Awesome. Appreciate it.